This is the video introduction to Lesson 4 using the solderless circuit board in the Mr. Circuit Basic Electronics Lab 1. The solderless circuit board is an amazing invention. It allows us to assemble circuits without having to solder all the pieces together. The solderless circuit board is a device that allows you to assemble electronic circuits without the use of solder. It makes for quick and easy construction and is thus ideal for experimentation and for this lab. A solderless circuit board comes supplied with this lab. Lay it out in front of you as shown on this page with the holes forming vertical groups, and we will explain that each group of 5 holes is connected together inside the board with a metal clip. So if you plug a wire into one of those holes of that group of 5 and plug something else into another hole in that group of 5, those 2 wires are connected together just as though you had soldered those 2 wires together. But they're a clip, so it makes it real easy to assemble and disassemble. Notice that your circuit board has 60 groups of 5 holes, and these we use in order to assemble circuits on it. Notice that there are many tiny holes in the board. Each hole will accept a component leader wire, and only one wire. Don't try to put 2 wires in the same hole. All 5 holes in a vertical group or set are connected together by a metal clip inside the circuit board. Thus, each vertical group is shorted together. 2 or more wires or leads plugged into any one of the 5 holes will be connected together as though they were soldered. There are 60 sets, like I said, of these 5 holes. Now in this diagram in figure 2, you're actually looking at the bottom of the circuit board, and if you open it up, this is what you would find. You'd find a metal clip. These black lines represent metal clips that are 60 of them, and they connect to the holes on the other side of the board. A center channel separates and divides the board in half. Integrated circuits, like the 555 timer that comes with our lab, are straddled across this channel. Also note that the numbers and letters that were printed on the board to help identify each hole during construction. In order to learn how to use a solderless circuit board, let's do the following experiment. Let's suppose that we want to build a simple circuit to light up an LED like this one. This schematic shows a battery symbol, a resistor, and an LED. And the battery would put out electrons. They would go through the LED, back up through the resistor, and back to the positive side of the battery. In this circuit, an electric current flows from the negative terminal of the battery through the positive to the positive terminal, passing through the LED and resistor. And as this current flows through it, the LED will light up. All right, let's go to page 2. One way to build the circuit that we were just talking about is by soldering the leads of the components to one another, as shown in figure 5 here. We could solder the black wire to the cathode lead of the LED. We could solder the anode lead to a wire that then goes to the resistor, and then solder the other side of the resistor to the red wire of the battery snap. And when we put a battery on the battery snap, this LED would light up. Or we can build this same circuit easily and neatly by using a solderless circuit board. Notice in the diagram here, we have indicated that the wires are connected together by the black lines shown that the clip connects the 2 wires. So you take the battery snap, the black wire is plugged into a hole, and then the cathode side of the LED is plugged into another of that group of 5. Then the other side, the anode of the LED, is plugged into a group of 5 holes, and then a wire is plugged into that same group and goes over to the resistor. The resistor is plugged into the same group of holes that wire is plugged into. Then the resistor comes back and connects to a group of 5 holes, and the red side of the red wire from the battery snap is plugged into that same group of 5. Thus, we've completed the circuit. So again, if we connect the battery up to this, the battery electrons will flow out of the black lead of the 9-volt battery snap, down through the clip, up through the LED, down to the clip, up through the wire, up through the clip, up to the resistor, back from the resistor to a group of 5 holes, and then back out the red wire from the battery snap. So that's how the solderless breadboard works. All right, we can solder or we can build things on the solderless circuit board. In our case, we're going to be reusing parts over and over, so we want to use a solderless circuit board, and so we've provided one in this kit. Actually, what you're seeing here, the diagram, is the center section. Your board will also have some holes along the edges. Those are called bus lines. We're not going to use those with this particular experiments, but they're there in case you want to build some other ones that require it. In this case, the leads of the components are connected to one another, the metal strips of the solderless circuit board. Remember, wires that must be connected together must be inserted into holes of the same group of 5. So now, using the solderless circuit board and the parts, you could build this circuit. And you would take special care while installing the LED to put the short lead or the cathode in the right direction. Remember, the cathode has to be connected to the negative of the battery. Once you have the circuit assembled and connect the battery and put the battery snap to it, the circuit should light. Here's an example on your screen. I wired it up for you. Now, if you make any little change, like if you move the red wire over to another group of 5 holes, what do you think will happen to the LED? Well, of course, the LED won't light up because the red wire and the resistor are in different groups of 5 holes, thus they're not connected together. So that's what happened. When you move that red wire over, that change caused the LED not to light up, and the LED went off because there's no connection. Therefore, again, always remember, wires that need to be connected together must be inserted into the same group of 5 holes. With this, you're now ready to use the solderless circuit board, and we're going to wire up some experiments.